Hello everyone, Star Baby Homestead here. I just wanted to do a quick video. I mentioned in my last video that I was going to use kaolin clay to try to protect as another line of defense for protecting my plants. So I know I said I wasn't gonna buy any of the WP kaolin just because it was expensive, and I just wanted to see how it worked for me first. So as of right now, I just bought off of Amazon just some white kaolin clay powder. Okay, just a small bag. It can be a little bit pricey for what you get, but again, this is just me kind of trying it out. So what I did is, as recommended, I got this big bucket here and I measured out a gallon of water. I went and got one of these sprayers. You can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those Walmart, and it's a gallon. And I measured out about almost to the top, a gallon of water, and then I poured it in here. Then I took 3 cups of this white kaolin and mixed it up in here really well, made sure there was no chunks, and then I put it in my sprayer. And the only thing I would probably worry about is the clay clogging up the mechanism. So you probably just want to get ahead of that and just make sure that it's flowing pretty well, that you don't have any chunks or weirdness in there. But it dissolves pretty well. It looked like a milky mixture. Now I've already used it. I'll show you how it looks on the plants, but as you can see, there's sediment in the bottom of here. So you would just take it and just, shake it up and then spray what you need to. So now let's go on out to the garden. The one thing I was concerned about were my grapes, because they are now starting to ripen. And my peaches, because now they're starting to give off a sweet fragrance. You can tell from my grapes here, they're starting to turn. These are pink Reliance. And besides the ants, I want to try to keep and deter birds from eating these. So it may or may not do anything. But we shall see. But the grapes are sprayed, and as you can tell from some of the leaves, I already said before that we had some issues with Japanese beetles, but I sprayed and took care of them. So 1 or 2 will show up, but nothing like what we had. But so yeah, we'll see. I want to try to be able to pick these grapes as they ripen, but I don't want them to the birds to get a hold of them before we can. All right, so what else did I spray? I sprayed my eggplant because of Japanese beetles. And you see those holes? Japanese beetles and flea. Really, flea are the worst. They put those tiny little holes in. That's flea beetle. The lacy type of look that is on the grape leaves, that is Japanese beetle. They just chew and just so when they couldn't get to my grapes, they went over to my lilies, and I had to spray my lilies, not with kaolin this time, but I did spectricide. But in the meantime, yeah, it looks a little weird, but you know what, I don't care how it looks as long as I get a chance to harvest my fruit. So in addition to spraying my eggplant, I came over to my tomatoes, because when they start turning, we will have birds who peck. Sprayed my tomatoes. Now you don't want to spray the flowers, because the flowers, it'll keep the bees from pollinating, which I know that tomatoes are self-pollinating, but this is just in reference to other plants. You want to be careful if you're using it not to spray the flowers. So let's see. Your squash plants. Now, line of defense. You want to spray the fruit and the base of the plants with kaolin clay. So that's this area around here where it comes out of the ground. I know this is like the worst example, you guys. My squash plants look kind of sickly and I'm going to be pulling them soon, but you want to spray around the base with kaolin clay, and then you also want to spray your fruit, and then you want to also do BT. So you could probably spray the BT, and in between rain showers spray the kaolin, because I mean it's going to get washed away. So that can help you have a nice line of defense for caterpillars and squash beetles, which were really bad this year. Yeah, they were a mess. They definitely took their toll on my poor squash over here, but yet they are still producing. So if you have some fruit, you want to make sure that you spray them, because the squash beetles will eat those. And I sprayed BT. I didn't really spray anything on my cucumbers because they've been doing pretty well. So what else did I spray? I sprayed my red curry. And the reason why I sprayed my squash is because with it turning red, you could possibly get birds that are trying to peck them. If they're ripe enough, see that bee? If they're ripe enough, then the outer, the shell, the skin should be hard enough where they can't really peck it. That's the whole thing about growing winter melons. So they keep really well, but until they are ripe and completely hardened, these aren't cured. So they're susceptible to damage. So you want to keep the bugs away. Same thing. You can see here, I had worms. Those vine borers had gotten into my stems, and I cut them and then reburied them. But in the meantime, so that they don't come back, I think we've seen the worst of them. We won't see them again probably until August. And I'm gonna, when I pull this squash plant, I'm gonna start on my next batch, and they'll probably be ready just in time for them again. But I'm ready, you guys. I am ready this year. So spray your kaolin around the base of your squash plants. Spray them on your fruit to kind of deter bugs. All right, so let's go look at our peach trees, because I started to notice that peaches were falling and they didn't seem ripe. They were still a little green, but these are ripening fast, and I've already seen some that have been pecked by birds. So we've got some on the ground already, and then the ones here are just now starting to turn. So unfortunately, I was behind the game for about 3 weeks because once again I was sick, and then I was on vacation. See, that looks like either worm or bird or both, and I need to pull that. I need to pull any, you want to stay on top of your peaches, pull any that are rotten or looking a little bit gross, because they'll just infect the rest of the fruit around them. Like this. This is some of that ooze I was talking about. But I sprayed all of the fruit with kaolin, and that kind of deters the birds and the bugs. See, we have some up there starting to ripen. So it kind of deters them from eating. Nobody wants clay in their mouth, right? And then the bugs, they don't find it very appetizing. Now, unfortunately, some of these peaches probably already have worms in them because I was unable to spray during my downtime. So there's a small window of opportunity, people. When you start seeing your peaches when they start budding, you should already be spraying or covering them with clay. So luckily we'll still get some fruit out of this. Some that, you know, they've already got black spot, but some of that is just, they're not visually all that appealing, but the fruit is fine. My other peach tree, it seems to be ripening maybe faster, but the same deal. Let's see here. There we go. Sprayed these guys. This one has black spot worse, but there's still plenty of fruit. So just a quick video. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on whether or not it really works, how much of a deterrent that it is. You know, birds are persistent. And I mean, peaches are delicious. So are squash and grapes and all the other things. So be well, be blessed. And oh, let me know if you're using kaolin, what type you're using, and if it's been effective for you. Yeah, if it's worth the investment. I'm probably gonna have to end up planting more peach trees, some that maybe are more disease resistant. Maybe these are just old, but yeah, these have been struggling and I've been taking care of them and they're starting to produce, but I really want to get a handle on this fruit. So let me know what you're doing and what you're using for your peach trees. If you have grapes, how are you keeping like the birds and squirrels and other vermin away? Are you spraying them? Are you using traps? Are you covering them? Please let me know. Be well, be blessed, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.